Today I'm going to show you how to replace the tub seal and the sleeve bearing on this Maytag Dependable Care washer. We're also going to change the belts for good measure. If you're interested in doing this job, I'll put a link in the description for my repair kit. It includes the tub seal, the sleeve bearing, the spanner wrench, and a new set of belts, which is basically everything you need to freshen up this washer. First thing you need to do is remove the front cover. Your washer is either going to have two Phillips screws forward facing, and you would simply just unscrew them and lift the cabinet out, or you'll have two screws that are going at a 45-degree angle pointing up, which you'll simply remove and lift the cabinet out. This particular cabinet front is held in by clips, so we're going to take a spatula and we're going to slide the spatula down here until we release the clip. Once you release the clips, you should be able to lift the cabinet out, and it should just kind of drop out of your way. And let's put it to the side. To lift the top, you're going to find this 3/8 screw on the left and the right side of the cabinet towards the front. We're going to unscrew those. Don't forget to disconnect the bleach dispenser hose. Now we're going to carefully lift the top up, and be careful with the lid. You might want to tape it shut. What I do is I like to leave it open and tilt it back very carefully, and then it tends to keep the lid in an upright fashion. Otherwise, just tape it and pull the lid up and move it out of the way. You have to feel around the base of the washer. You'll find a circle, and there'll be a screw holding the agitator in place. You want to get your 1/4-inch nut driver and remove the screw. Now you could lift the agitator out. Next step is going to be to remove this tub cover. You want to find these little plastic tabs, and you just want to pull up on them. It should come off without too much trouble. This is a really great time to wash the insides of your washer and get all of this goo out. The next step is going to take the spanner wrench that's in my kit, and you kind of want to get it into the grooves of this nut. To loosen the screw, it's a reverse thread, so we're going to be going clockwise to unscrew. So sometimes this gets really stuck and you're not going to get it out. So at that point, we're going to take a chisel and we're going to chisel the nut off. And don't worry, the new tub seal comes with a replacement nut. Me personally, I like to use a Dremel just because I suck at swinging a hammer. I always hit my hand and not the chisel. So I'm going to make two cuts, one on the opposite sides, and then I'm going to take a chisel and just spread it apart. Once you get your lines, you want to get a chisel, kind of get your slot into the grooves. And guys, this obviously isn't a chisel. I can't find my chisel. You see I just broke half of it off. The other half should come off without too much trouble. And don't worry if you cut this. This is also getting replaced. You just kind of want to make sure you don't get too deep and ruin this cover. But if you do, it's not really the end of the world. It's just the cover. And these are still available. You could buy them new anyways. Now we're going to remove the tub. Now you want to start by rocking the tub back and forth and break it free. And then you should just be able to lift it right out. The next step is we need to find, there's a screw holding this in place, and it is a T20 Torx bit. The next step is we're going to get our spanner wrench again, and we're going to lock it in place. This also unscrews clockwise. This is the seal that went bad. Be patient with it. It's been there for almost 20 years. That was a mess. The next step is we're going to remove this outer tub. And to do that, we're going to undo these 3 bolts that are holding the tub to the tripod base. You're going to need a 1/2-inch socket and a 1/2-inch wrench. You want to put your wrench on the outside of the tub to hold the nut, and then use your 1/2-inch socket to remove the bolt. The next step is we're going to remove the air dome hose, and then we have to remove the tub to pump hose. Now we should just be able to wiggle this tub out. You might want to put a little bit of lubricant here to help things out. Now we have to get this bronze bearing off of the transmission. Start off by wiping off all the grease that you just put on it. Guys, this is going to be tough. There's two ways to go about removing this. You could get a pair of channel locks and try and turn it. And as you turn it, you want to turn in a like upward type motion and get it to slide out of the transmission. Don't crank on it too much. You obviously don't want to like mangle the thing because then it's never going to move. Worst case scenario, we're going to take a Dremel tool and we're going to do some very, very light cutting. And what we're going to try and do is cut almost through it, but not enough to damage the transmission. And then hopefully we could give it a couple of chisels and it'll pop open. So I'm going to try turning it first. If not, I'm going to go right to the Dremel. This isn't budging. Evidently this has been leaking for kind of a while, so I'm just going right for the Dremel. I'm going to start off with a little bit of denatured alcohol. I'm going to take a little bit of emery cloth and I'm going to very, very, very gently clean this up a little bit more. I'm going to finish it off with an alcohol prep pad. That looks good. I think it's clean enough to put the bushing in. Your bearing kit's going to come with the tub part and then this metal sleeve. And it's also going to come with some gaskets and lock washers. This is to seal your tub again. So we're going to start off by taking this. Let's wipe some dust off of it, make sure there's nothing there. And that is perfect. It should go down with very, very little resistance. Now we got to attach this to the tub. Prop up the tub with a 2x4 so you don't squish the tub to pump outlet, and then just take your foot and kind of push out the old sleeve bearing. Now we have to do a really thorough job of cleaning this up. Now that we got the tub clean, I'm going to take a minute and just kind of spray a little spray paint on some of these rust spots. Arguably it's not going to help, but I just kind of don't feel right leaving these little rust spots exposed like that. I feel like spraying them with spray paint kind of, well, at least buys some time. So let's do that. I'm going to get some alcohol prep pads, and now we're going to insert the new sleeve bearing. Okay, that was intense. For those of you a little bit heavier than 150 pounds, that'll probably go a lot easier for you. Okay, now it's time to put the tub back in. And I'll tell you honestly, I don't think this is right, but I always put a little bit of oil on the sleeve bearing. It doesn't say to do so in the instructions, but it just makes me feel a little bit better. So I just rub a very thin coat of turbine oil or something to give it a little bit of. Awesome. Now we're going to bolt the tub bolts to the frame. Your new sleeve bearing kit came with some new fiber washers. The fiber washers are supposed to go in between, on the outside of the tub, in between the support base and the outer tub. Now pay attention because yours is probably still there. If it's not, use the fiber washers. It's also important to make sure that the rubber gasket on your bolt is still in good condition. You don't really want to tighten them up, you just want to get them all started. Now to tighten these bolts, we're going to do it differently than we did the last time. This nut, or bolt rather, has to stay pretty still. So we're going to put the wrench on the inside and we're going to use a ratchet on the outside. That's intense. Well, don't forget to hook up your pressure tube. you're going to need to use a little pair of pliers to squeeze the clamp as you push in the hose. And then let's put together the tub to pump hose. Okay, well, we're in the home stretch. Now we got to just clean up a little bit here. I'm going to grab a little bit of sandpaper. I'm going to knock down this rust and whatever this is. And then I'm going to paint, and then we're going to put the seal on. The tub seal kit comes with 3 pieces. This is the springy boot, this is the face seal, and then this is a new tub nut. Now we have to keep all of this stuff clean, especially here. You see how it got a little grease on it. To install this, you might want to put a bit of water around the edge here, because this is really tough to install. Sometimes I will put just a tiny bit of oil. You got to put it so that your finger could just barely slide with a lot of resistance, and then wipe it off, and then that's enough oil. When you're in, the boot should be kind of flush, not kind of, it should be flush with the bottom of the tub, and then you got to give this a test to make sure that you didn't bind it up in any way. Next we're going to take this, make sure you wipe it off with a clean dry towel. And we're going to install it. Remember, it's a reverse thread. So correct is like hand tight, and then I usually give it a couple of taps. Maybe an 1/8 or a 1/4 turn, and then set the screw in. You know you're good. The screw shouldn't go in all the way. It sticks out maybe a 1/16 or so of an inch out. That's when you know it's seated properly. Next, we're going to get the inner tub. If your washer is equipped with one of these filters, it's a good time to clean it. Next, you're going to install your cover, and then the new nut. Don't forget it's a reverse thread. Now the way I like to center this tub is just kind of get my fingers in between the tub and the outer and just kind of use it to feel it out a little bit. This one pretty tight. Excellent. Now, but before you go any further, you might want to give one last wipe down since you have so much room. I cleaned this in the sink, so there's all that's in there is just kind of like debris that didn't go through the holes. But I'm going to give it one more wipe down, and then we're going to install the agitator. Next, the agitator. Don't forget to put your 1/4 inch screw back in. Then the tub cover. Make sure you hear every clip click. Now we're going to put the top back down and wrap it up. Don't forget the bleach hose. And last but not least, the new drive belts. I already put them on off camera, but it's very simple. Just tip the machine back and the belts just slip on and slip off. The belt kit comes with 2 belts. The thicker belt is your drive belt, and the thinner belt is for your pump. Before you put the front cover back on, you want to let the washer spin dry for about a minute, and then water test it before you cover it up to make sure you don't have any leaks. Thanks for watching.